Council meeting scheduled for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Will you please all rise for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Beagle,
I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Resnick,
Present.
Councilmember Behrman,
Present.
Councilmember Batchel,
Here.
Councilmember Brendan Fox, here. Councilmember Sharp,
Present.
Councilmember Smiley, here. Quorum present.
Thank you. Changes or additions to the agenda presented tonight. City Manager Brown.
I have no changes, Your Honor.
And from the Dives. All right, we have no presentation tonight. We have one set of minutes to be approved tonight. That's from the regular City Council meeting of August 9th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions, corrections? Seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the regular City Council meeting minutes of August 9th, 2022. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence, we have two letters of correspondence tonight. One is a notice of hearing for the customers of Consumers Energy, case number U-21062, and a memo from City Manager Brown regarding emergency project change order approval for the Civic Center walking path.
One question regarding the emergency project change order.
Yes.
There was disclosed that there were private utilities that were discovered
Yes.
along the path. Will those now be added to our GIS database?
It's an excellent question. Okay. You got that? I know it was discussed.
We typically do not add the private ones on GIS, but because it's on city property, we have to put that on.
I think it's worthwhile.
Yes, oh, definitely for the city properties, yeah.
30 years from now, we have to get a piece of that.
Yeah, to know where it is.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Batchel?
Thank you. Relating to that, seeing people's correspondence as well, I wanted to confirm, since it's still under budget technically, the overage wasn't paid out of the general funds, correct? No general funds were supposed to be used for the project.
We haven't paid it yet. The invoices have just come in. I'm not sure that the payments have been made. Did you have the answer on that?
I do not.
Yeah. I'll have to check on it.
All right, thank you.
I think the intent was to keep it the same line, but I'll check with Maryland.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the first call to the public. The rules for the call to the public are as follows. The public shall address the council during the call to the public, which shall be included on the agenda immediately after correspondence, and again immediately after new business. The first call to the public immediately after correspondence shall be limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of the council present. Persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves and their place of residence and shall state their reason for addressing the council, and all comments by the public shall be made directly to the council. Do we have anybody for the first call to the public? Give your name and address, please.
My name is Terrence Dean. I live at 1084 Beechnut Drive in the Wildwood subdivision in Wixon. This concerns the letter referring to the sidewalk repairs. I went to the council offices this morning and talked to Mr. Benson. And I asked him who was responsible for approving the layout of a subdivision when it is built, including what type of trees should be planted. He told me that the city gives the final approval.
Excuse me. This will be under the second call to the public. This won't be the first call to the public. The first call to the public is agenda items only.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'll give you this.
No worries.
Give me the phone when you're ready.
Yep, no worries. I'll let you know.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, next up is the city manager's reports. We've got the departmental reports for July 2022. Any questions? Councilmember Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of questions I'm addressing across several of the departments. So if somebody else wants to jump in, if they have any questions for any of the departments.
No, you've got the floor for your questions, and we'll move on.
Okay, thank you. First is for DPW, Mr. Sigma. We spoke earlier today, but just for the record, the pavers and the benches at the columbarium, I noticed, are still not installed. We're going to do a year and a half of saying we were going to get them done. Can you kind of give council just a brief update of what's going on there?
I had fully intended to get those in the spring of this year, and landscaping contractors are very difficult to find and pin down for a project this size. And so we're still working on that. We at one point we had hoped to do it in-house, which we've done some brick pavers downtown area, and with the employee shortages that I have, we can't quite do that. So we're working on it, and I'm hoping to do it within the next month or so.
One other thing for the DPW, the back nine on the disc golf course, I understand there's some progress being made.
We are. Yep. We're hoping to finish that up before we start leaf season. Was our goal on that one. So we do intend to take down a few trees and then we can put up those posts.
And just one more thing, I didn't mention this to you earlier, but you probably expected somebody to ask about Airline Trail. How we look at, we kind of talked about end of August as being the target date for at least the concrete work and aprons and all that stuff. How's that?
So we do have some punch list items on the Airline Trail right now. We met today, this morning, and they're working on that piece of, just starting to do the checklist or the punch list items. And although there are a few that, November it may happen, but we're hoping to, within the next couple weeks, that most of that will get taken care of. So the fencing or the corral, if you will, right downtown on the corner, we're hoping to get that within the next 2 weeks. And then we're going to also do a fencing along the railroad. We're hoping.
Not that there's a competition, but Huron Trail started well after us, and they're done all the way to south.
They're all,
Really nice trail, so I'm looking forward to being able to.
It will be nice to get that done. I know that the hawk signal too has been difficult. They did go down to the plant that was made at, and they did inspect it, and it's there. They're doing a couple extra things yet. We're hoping to see that within a month too.
Thank you. If I may just to add on to that, the degree of difficulty on a straight path of what we did is totally different.
It's kind of, throwing that.
Right.
I totally get it. Big, much different all the way.
Which is cool. I mean, there were some real interesting and very cool features to our version.
I'm just getting interested to use it all the way from start to finish. So
I did speak to the county person that's been helping us with that, and she indicated, I said, what was the next one that she's planning to do? Because this one, she says none of them get any easier. I go, well, what's the next one? They're doing 17 miles on the north end of Oakland County, northeast side. So that one, I don't think that one will be paid, but that's going to be quite a project.
She always states the easy stuff has already been done. That's her story right now. It's down to the tougher stuff.
we've got great people. Yeah, that was all I had for DPW, but I'll let Peter see for Peter as long as I can get it back. Mr. Behrman, as long as I can get it back.
Councilmember Behrman.
Really quickly on the trail that I do appreciate you guys putting those barricades out. However, that's not working. Like on my way here tonight, a bike darted out in between the heavy barricade and the barrel. We need to do something more. We need to signage. And then the next thing, I really think that possibly our police department needs to look at pulling some of these bikes over for jaywalking. They're not in a crosswalk, and it needs to be enforced that they can't be crossing there until there's a crosswalk. So I don't know if there's anything else we can do, but legit, like driving here tonight, I had slammed my brakes because the bike just started out right in front of me.
Well, I was going to comment that I appreciate you guys putting the barriers up, because I noticed after the last council meeting, you guys put the tape up on like Wednesday, and then Thursday night it was taken down already. So, no matter what you do there, it's short of putting a wall all the way to Pioneer Trail, people are going to cross.
But you put a sign saying please use the crosswalk, or, it's not open yet.
We do have signs on the outside.
And perhaps starting pulling them over and giving them tickets is the way to go. I don't know what else. It's not safe to the drivers, it's not safe to the bicyclists.
Yeah, we acknowledge that when we put the barriers up, it was, that's only going to make it clear that you shouldn't be doing what you're going to do if you're going to do it. That's unfortunately what we've got right now.
Yeah, it's crazy to me just to watch.
The mayor mentioned the tape would be getting taken down, and then that was an issue because now the barrier's not effectively there. These water-filled plastic barriers are not movable, so that's at least, you're making a purposeful move to bypass the barriers and do something unsafe.
Willful act.
Councilmember Sharp, what was yours?
This may be DPW, I'm not sure. I had a building department question. Should I?
Potential. One of us can help.
So one of the things that I think Deputy Mayor Ressick asked for was code enforcement. So it's really nice to see the list. I don't see boats on trailers and front yards on there. Which section is that? I could not believe how many people store their boats in the front yards. And I know we're saying, well, they use them on the weekend. I doubt it. These things are like wrapped and on blocks and stuff, and there's a lot of them in the city. And I know that the building department asked that they would respond to complaints, and that's fine. I'm just surprised there aren't any on there. Where would it go? I know in my neighborhood there are some people complaining on those. So
That would go under RV, recreational vehicles.
Okay.
So there were two that went through the whole process.
Okay.
I will say there's a lot of times that things happen that the complaints don't come in and therefore aren't addressed.
Right. Okay, so it's in the RV section.
There's the city ordinance, and then there's also each of the homeowners associations.
Yeah, that's kind of the homeowners association that have managed that. Last one I had was about the construction, the Huddle Park report about easements on safety paths. This might be Mayor, how are we doing on our easement meetings with various property owners on the east side of Wixon Road?
The east side of Wixom Road.
That's what I was thinking.
Still working on it.
We're still working on it.
So we're giving the help that HRC says needs to be, every month it says.
We're working on it, yeah.
Good.
You know, the discussion around that.
Oh, good. And one more thing, if I may. This was to Mr. Benson on the Economic Development Report. You said there was going to be a GIS kickoff meeting yesterday. Did that happen?
Yes, it did.
Very good. All right. I'm there.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Yeah, mine's probably for Mr. John, perhaps Tim, but I noticed on our plant influent quality report that we only report things required under our NPDES permit. Would it be possible to temporarily put the PFAS and the hexavalent chromium or just total chromium, since we are testing for those monthly now, is that correct?
PFAS numbers are in the end. Chrome, yes, if you would like, I can start including them for the, we've been told by the state to monitor for the next 3 weeks. Next 3 weeks every day.
Okay.
So we've been collecting samples and we've been getting results, and I'll be happy to put them in for the next one.
Great, thank you. Will that be an ongoing?
That is entirely up to the state. They've said 3 weeks continuous for now, and then we will revisit and see what the requirements are.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which we have no items under. No unfinished business items, so we'll move on to the first item of new business is a recommendation to approve the 2022-2023 municipal and community credit contract with Suburban Mobility Authority for regional transportation in the amount of $16,093 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. McGee?
Good evening, everyone. Before you is our annual SMART contract that we've done every year for transportation. We get reimbursed for our senior or charter transportation through this contract. And this contract is effective July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Just a point of interest is it is an increase in the last year's roughly a little over 2,000. So it's a significant. Any questions?
Questions? Councilmember Smiley.
It's not really a question. I was going to kind of give a little update on my visit to the Board of Commissions last 2 weeks ago, on August 10th. It fits in here, so yeah, it's, this is not a question, just a little update. So I attended the Board of Commissions meeting on August 10th. On our behalf, I presented the Wixom City Council resolution opposing the transit proposal that the commission was putting together, that not having a opt-out element included. An opt-out amendment was proposed by one of the commissioners, but it failed to garner enough votes, unfortunately. As we discussed in that meeting, it voted on and passed, by the people of Oakland County. Wixom will get hit with a 0.95 millage for a regional transit program. And just a more rural reminder, that equates to $845,000 in additional tax on our residents, when we need far less than that to satisfy most of our transit needs. It's worth noting the current transit program is set to expire. The one that it's about to expire allows for an opt-out, new one, which we exercise, the new one will not. So it was what it was.
Anybody else? All right, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve the 2022-2023 municipal and community credit contract with Suburban Mobility Authority for regional transportation in the amount of $16,093 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And thanks for the information, Councilmember Smiley.
Pleasure.
New business number 2 is a recommendation to award the municipal floor mat rental services contract to Continental Linen Supply of Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the amount of $8,446.88 annually for 3 years, with an option to extend the contract 2 additional years with an annual cost increase of 5%, and authorize the DPW director to sign the agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Or Councilmember Gatchel.
Thank you. I guess since this is below the $10,000 threshold that was approved, I was just wondering why this is not there
That's a fair question. It is a contract, and through our ordinance, we're required to bring contracts to city council for approvals. And
the charter says nothing below 10,000, including contracts.
Then I'm mistaken.
Yeah, it was just.
We did it mostly because it was a 3-year contract, multiple years. I didn't want to make it come across like I was taking advantage of that. We were committing for more than $10,000 essentially, so that was my rationale.
In looking at the increases annually, it's still in the final year. I don't think it gets us above 10. So it was just like one of the things that I hoped for when we did that was so you guys could go do things more quickly.
Yep.
Instead of.
So just to clarify, I'd like to get some clarification, right? So if you're all on board with that. So it's not just a $10,000 expense that we're approving because it's a commitment of a 3-year contract at $8,400 per year. So that's over $10,000, and that was the real crux of the issue for me. And I took the conservative approach and brought it to you. But if you're okay with the facts, as long as an annual expenditure, regardless of the number of years, is below $10,000, I'll take that marching order and avoid this in the future. That's truly why it was brought up. If you do the math, it's, 3 years at 8,400 plus is much more than $10,000, so we're committing to that.
I think it's just an annual thing, or at least that's how I interpret it.
And that's fine. And it was a question that almost got decided the other way, Councilmember Goschel, that I just brought up here, and as they say these days, out of an abundance of caution.
It's better to be transparent.
Right.
Councilmember Smiley.
I would order the same thing. That said, I appreciate your care, and, I leave it to your discretion,
So if the expenditure is less than 10,000, I will not bring it down to the future.
If you feel like there's something that, in my low opinion up here, if you feel like there's something like we're discussing that's close to that threshold or is a little out of ordinary, I trust you to push for us what you want us to, take a look at. And, floor mats, I'm sure.
Right.
We can do that.
We'll march in in that direction next time.
Councilmember Blumen.
My view on that, on why I was here, is because I just viewed it as it being close to a $30,000 contract with it being, 3-year commitment. I guess I don't really have a strong opinion either way or the other, but I would say that if it's more than a 3-year commitment or something along those lines, probably I would at least like to see it out here. I mean, it's still a lot of money over a period of time. And I just wanted to note that although I thought the pricing was really good on the mats, it wasn't in the title, but we're in shop towels too.
We do have some shop towels,
But no, the pricing seems fine for
sometimes you pay better pound for those, but not for the specific one.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation and award the municipal floor mat rental service contract to Continental Lawn Supply of Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the amount of $8,446.88 annually for 3 years with an option to extend the contract for 2 additional years with an annual cost increase of 5%. And authorize the DPW director to sign the agreement. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New business number 3 is a recommendation to renew the winter maintenance agreement for $12,552.62 with the Road Commission of Oakland County for Pontiac Trail from the western city limits to Beck Road and Loon Lake Road from Benstein Road to the city limits by adopting the authorizing resolution and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. Do I have a motion?
Sure.
Good. Go ahead, Mr. Schmidt. This is just mainly routine. We've done it every year.
Yep.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, I got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to renew the winter maintenance agreement for $12,552.62 with the Road Commission of Oakland County for the Pontiac Trail from the western city limits to Beck Road and Loon Lake Road from Benstein Road to the city limits by adopting the authorizing resolution and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Well, it's your night tonight, huh?
It is.
New business number 4 is a recommendation to accept the agreement with Oakland County, Michigan to provide $80,310 to the Oakland County Local Government Critical Infrastructure Grant Program and authorize the DPW director to sign the contract. Do I have a motion?
Support.
Very good. Jim?
Yes, so this one is digitally signed, so that's why I'll be working on the signature page of this, but we went in for design grant and sanitary sewer cleaning with this grant, and it is part of the ARPA funds through the Oakland County that they presented for us. Some of the planning was for PFAS removal in the collection system, and so there's some design work that we're hoping to get out of this, and then the rest would be for cleaning and televising the sanitary sewers. There is a caveat that the first portion of this will be finished up by the end of the year. We don't anticipate any problems with that, and we believe that we can extend that as well. So with that, you open for questions. split.
Okay.
Yep.
And then when I was reading, and I don't know why you read through all this, but
Yeah.
I did, it talked about the city of Wixom is submitting a project for a loan.
We are. So the loan, the part of that is through the SRF funds, and actually the was a clean water drinking fund that we're working on with the state is a portion of that funding that the county actually helped us with to get the grants from the state. And we got the notice today that it looks like they are going to let us do that. The caveat is we were looking for full principal forgiveness for any PFAS-related items, and right now they're offering 10% on principal forgiveness for the PFAS portion, and then the rest would have to be funded through an SRF loan. And that's something that we still have to talk with folks about and understand. Yeah, there's some more to that before we make the recommendation to do that portion. But this portion of the grant will help us understand that and make it. Yeah.
Councilmember Sher?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Sigma, two things. Is the 8,000 budget? I remember talking about this in budget planning, PFAS and sterilization, ultraviolet sterilization, and
there's a portion that's that is in the capital for the UV disinfection. The other portion is just regular sewer televising and cleaning that we do on a typical basis. So I didn't want to ask for more than we had already intended to fund as part of the budget. So
there's no budget adjustment required. It's in our
and the contract currently with Metro Sewer Cleaners is a current contract that we can utilize for this purpose.
And the other thing, you and I spoke earlier today, the Oakland County letter, you should check the date in there. It does say December 31st, 2022, that the funds have to be used by.
Yes. Yep. I did reread that, and there is a portion on that. Yes.
We won't have any trouble spending it.
We shouldn't have enough trouble with that.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions, I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to accept the agreement with Oakland County, Michigan to provide $80,310 through the Oakland County Local Government Critical Infrastructure Grant Program and authorize the DPW Director to sign the agreement. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And new business number 5 is a recommendation to approve Hubbell Roth & Clark's proposal for engineering services for the water reliability study update for an amount not to exceed $23,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
So every 5 years, we need to look at our water system to make sure that it is able to support any type of fires that may occur in the city at different locations throughout the city, and then also make sure that it can supply the quantity that is needed for all of the industry, all of the residential folks that are here. So it's quantity and quality of our water system. And that is a requirement from the state that we do this. It helps us with capital planning and different things as well. And HRC has been doing this for quite a few years, and will be helping us with the modeling. There are some flow testing that we do for fire hydrants and different things, and we'll be working with FEOP with that. But this is for HRC's help and the design and for $23,000.
Any questions? Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Thank you. Mr. Sigma, do the municipal well beds actually come into play on this?
They do to a certain extent. They average how much gallons that we could potentially use through that. So there is a portion that they do look at that, and based on the pressures that we expect from those wells. Currently, we do have 2 wells down, and as you know, we have 2 well houses left in the city, and so we are down on the repair repairs on those. We're not quite ready to do major repairs on those wells because we think that the two that are existing and that we test every month will handle what we need for the small things. And we work with the Oakland County, Commerce Township, the city of Novi for emergency connections as well. And but that all is part of the reliability study that we're looking at here.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, seeing no more questions, I've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to approve Holdoroff and Clark's proposal for engineering services for the water reliability study update for amount not to exceed $23,000. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carried. And that concludes the new business portion of the meeting tonight. We'll move on to the call to the public. The call to the rules, the call to the public, the same as before, except you can speak whatever's on your mind.
Dean. I live at 1084 Beechmouth Drive, and that's in the Wildwood subdivision of Wixon. This concerns the letter referring to sidewalk repairs. I went to the council offices this morning and talked to Mr. Benson. I asked him who was responsible for approving the layout of a subdivision when it is built, including the sidewalks, the roads, and even the trees that are planted there. He told me that the city gives the final approval of any plans. I showed him a photograph of a tree next to my property, and I do have a picture of it with my, I don't know if anybody wants to see it. It's 40 foot high and has a girth of about 5 foot. It sits 2 feet from my sidewalk. He told me that I was responsible for repairing the damage to the sidewalk caused by this overgrown tree. I feel I am being unfairly treated compared to others who have no problems because the rest of the trees in my area are significantly smaller. And the photograph that I have shows the large tree that I'm talking about next to the next tree on my lot, which is about half the size and half the diameter of the trunk. I'm faced with a bill of almost $400 because there are 4 slabs, 2 either side of this big tree, that are heaving. It is because someone did not follow what I believe to be the standard practice of planting the proper trees in the first place. Sidewalks are common areas and are used by everyone. People out for a stroll or walking their dogs. I've even seen motorized bikes and scooters and the odd golf cart. So I'm quite well aware of it being shared. I understand that the entire council voted for this city code. With a bill I can least afford. I'm a pensioner on limited income, and a more equitable way to manage the costs of repair should be shared by the residents of the division. Why should I bear a significant charge when the problem was caused by bad planning? My expectations are that the council revisit this city code and produce a more equitable solution. As taxpayers, we all share the responsibility for paying for the amenities we enjoy. Garbage collection, street cleaning, schools, sewer maintenance, and road repairs. There is no reason why repairs to sidewalks should not be included in our shared cost system since they are a shared amenity. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for the second call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close the second call to the public and move on to city manager's comments. City Manager Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only thing that I had on the city manager update this week was the work anniversaries of employees ranging from 2 years up to 16 years, and the events that are listed in the dates to remember as well, with upcoming events that are happening in the city. I don't have anything else to add to that this evening, Your Honor, so I'm happy to answer anything else that might come up, but that's the city manager update for this week.
Assistant City Manager Benson, do you have anything?
I do. Just one quick note. As mentioned in my economic development report, we do have a ribbon cutting for a new business on North Wixom Road, Connect Boutique, that's taking over what used to be the Purple Door Store. While not technically in the DDA district, it is in the BCA zoning district, so a downtown business. From 9 to 10 a.m., if anyone is available, and the mayor will be there. Unfortunately, I will actually be unavailable for it, but we do invite you to come out. It'll be hopefully a good event for them. It's a pretty interesting story they have there. The other note I have is the reason I won't be there is I do have the opportunity to attend the Michigan Economic Developers Association annual meeting Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So hopefully I'll have some exciting notes to bring back. I just wanted to know why I wouldn't be at that event. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Very good. Council comments. Councilmember Smiley.
Just one little thing. Chief Moore's retirement party last week was a wonderful testament to all the lives that he touched. Many servants of Wixom, both present and past, came with words of congratulations and praise. I wish our friend very well.
Very good. Councilmember Berman.
Thank you. The only comment I have today is just I did notice that our new chief made a social media debut this morning, and I'm happy to see that we're still going to be using that social media page. Hopefully that will continue.
Councilmember Castro?
No comments.
Councilmember Sharp?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank FMVO and Ruben's here tonight for hosting a nice gathering today over at the DPW garage for city employees. Looked like it was well attended and there was good food. And fortunately, it was far enough away from the actual wastewater treatment plant. I was a little nervous about that. But Director Sikva gave me another tour and update some of the stuff they've been doing. It's really worthwhile if you haven't been down there in a while. When you think about hundreds of thousands of dollars we spend, you see why. You go down in the below levels and all the pumps and the equipment and all that it takes to run a successful operation that we have. So we're very fortunate. Thank you.
Councilmember Garland Fox?
I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to all those employees celebrating work birthdays. And I'd also like to say congratulations and a thank you for a very successful summer series.
Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to echo the comments on the summer concert series. I was able to attend all of them this year, and Mother Nature cooperated, and it was really wonderful. And the last concert, to see how well attended it was, I was quite shocked. Usually attendance wanes off, but it was very, very well attended, and each one of them, very good job. Thank you. That's all.
Very good. And I would like to congratulate everybody celebrating a work anniversary with the city. Yes, and thank you to FMV for the lunch today. We are very fortunate to have FMV because with all this stuff with the trichrome and the papers and stuff like that, wouldn't have been caught if we didn't have FMV. So appreciate that, and thank you to Deanna and her staff for the great concert series. It'll be hard to outdo next year, but I think you guys will find a way to do it. But you guys always do. You bring in some good entertainment, and not also with the bands, but with the family fun night. And I know it becomes a family event that way, and it's well attended. With that, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.